Patrick, hit us with some stats, won't you?
Sonny was released on December 27th, 2002, just in time for the holidays. You know, good Christmas flick to take the whole family to.
This should have been our Christmas episode this season.
Damn it.
I don't know why it came out then. This was after adaptation. Mm-hmm. He actually said that adaptation, having to play multiple characters in the same film, helped him understand directing a little bit because he was able to switch and get into the mindset of different characters as he was shooting. So, yeah, this is Nick Cage decided this was his his one film to direct. I don't know that he enjoyed it. I mean, he on the commentary he said he did enjoy it, but I don't know that he did because he's never gone back. This is 22 years ago.
Yeah,
and he hasn't directed since.
I could see him enjoying it.
I could definitely see.
I could also see him
it.
just not wanting to do it again because it's way harder than acting.
Yeah.
So,
oh yeah. Wait.
Why wouldn't he just act when he could get paid probably more to do less work?
Way less work. Yeah. Yeah. He said. Well, I mean, we'll get to it, but he said he was in the edit bay for months on this, and actually trimmed the movie down to 60 minutes at one point, and then started adding things back in.
I'd like to see that cut.
Yeah, I see the 60-minute cut.
I like to see the 60-minute cut.
Be a lot less. I don't know. I just feel like it's very like clunky and meandering. Just kind of like it's got all the elements to a great movie, but it's just kind of like I would just spend a little bit too long in each area.
Yeah, it feels like an actor made the movie instead of a director.
Yeah, it's definitely a first-time director vibe going on.
Well, you know, I'm sure he learned a lot of lessons in this, you know, in his debut directing responsibilities. So I do wonder, like, what he would have done if he would have continued directing after this. You know, he could have had I don't want to say Eastwood-esque arc, but because I don't think Eastwood started with Sonny.
No.
But, you know, he could have been an actor-director, but I don't think he enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. So, budget was $4 million on this film, and it made $132,221.
Ouch.
Ooh. I don't even know, like, you know, we've talked about this 1,000 times of, like, where even did that come from? Was it just a limited release in some art house theaters?
Yeah, I mean, that means probably less than 50,000 people saw it.
Yeah.
You know?
Which is, they probably had a hard time distributing this film because of the subject matter. But, you know, that was Cage right after an Oscar nomination, so...
That, and then Franco was coming off of the first Spider-Man movie, wasn't he? Mm-hmm. So he was.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Franco was on the rise for sure.
Yeah. So it's interesting that this movie didn't get a bigger release, but I mean, the content is a little bit hard to push out there.
Yeah.
I'd make a joke about the pushing out, but we'll move on.
We'll save it for later.
Directed by Nicolas fucking Cage. First, last, and only thing he has ever directed. He has produced a lot over the years. And, you know, I waffle on whether or not we should talk about some of those films, like Shadow of the Vampire and stuff like that, because he has had a lot of behind-the-scenes experience with, you know, editing and kind of like imparting his vision on films and stuff. But this is the first, last, only time he's ever directed. He has produced since. You know, Saturn Films was set up specifically so that he could, you know, put together productions that he thought were cool or that he thought were relevant. And then eventually he just used it to pay off all of his debts because he could just make whatever movie he was offered at that point. Yeah. But reviews were pretty harsh. The one that sticks out is Sonny is sunk between debuting director Nicolas Cage's evident inability to locate the heart of his movie's story, or properly modulate his cast's performances, which I feel both of those things. Franco was all over the place. Mina Suvari was pretty consistent.
She was very monotone in her performance. I think that would be my criticism of her, which I think
Harry Dean
Stanton,
easily the best performance
he
in this whole film. Yeah, he was the best. Yeah, best actor in the whole film. Brenda Blethyn was kind of all over the place. Apparently, she had about 48 hours to practice that Creole accent before starting to film. Yeah, and it kind of shows, especially in like the final scene with her and Sonny, where she's talking about. Well, we'll get to it, but the big reveal at the end about Harry Dean Stanton's character. It's like really pushing it, and apparently that was like their second day on the set or something.
I was gonna say that I wondered if that was early in shooting, within like the first week, because she didn't really seem to have that character figured out in that moment, and it was like you said, it's very different to the rest of her performance, and the accent was awful.
The accent was
it got a lot better as
swinging for the fences.
It got a lot better as they went on, but that was so bad.
Yeah, I definitely think it was better in the other scenes, but that was like they had to get that scene out of the way, and it was one of the most emotional scenes in the whole film. I don't know. I always kind of wonder about that, of like, maybe you should let the actors get to know each other before you go full into this.
I always wonder, like, that's a second day shoot. You're doing that scene?
That's a weird scene to shoot so early, because it's indoors, so it's not like you're limited to the
I think it was just in the house set that they used for a lot of other stuff.
Yeah. That was a bad decision.
Maybe he's like, they're actors. They can act it.
I mean,
I could do it.
That's probably Nicolas Cage's philosophy. It's kind of like Michael Jordan taking over the Wizards or the Hornets, where he was like, "Well, why can't you play as well as I did?"
Right. I did Arsenal in a day.
Literally.
This was,
but not yet. Ugh. I wish it never happened, but whatever. Written by John Carlin, who has mostly written TV, movies, and an episode of a show called High Sierra Search and Rescue.
Oh, I love that show.
He wrote for a long time. Sonny was the last thing on his credit list before passing away in 2009. So this was
his swan song,
the magnum opus. I mean, I guess if you're going from High Sierra Search and Rescue to a feature-length film starring James Franco.
To his credit, there is a good film hidden in there somewhere.
Yeah,
I just think it needed a more talented writer to do a refresh on the script, and a director that had more experience to pull those performances out of those actors.
Agreed.
I do wonder if the direction really hurt the writing on this.
I could see that.
Definitely see.
Yeah. There's a lot of those scenes felt like they dragged out way too long. Like he was just letting the actors do their thing.
Exactly. And, I mean, that's Cage's thing.
Exactly. I was going to say that. He directed this film as if he was directing himself.
Yes.
All those actors were him. How would I want
you can't do that with the entire cast of a movie.
And that's where this movie lingers, is in some of those scenes. It's just like, man, you could have trimmed a lot of that off and it would have tightened it up.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a good what is it, hour and 50 minutes?
Like hour and 50 minutes,
50 minutes. Yeah, it's almost 2 hours
Very long. Yeah, at least 20 minutes, maybe even 30.
I think he could have trimmed out 30 easy, because there's a lot of dead space in there.
This was shot by Barry Markowitz, who is actually a famous DP and a big name for this film, especially considering how low budget and small this film really is. He shot, among other credits, Sling Blade. He shot Crazy Heart, which was that Jeff Bridges country music singer one where he won an Oscar. I think that's Jeff Bridges' only win as a leading man, which is pretty crazy. All the Pretty Horses and The Apostle, all of those are heavy hitter films. All kind of similar in tone, if you think about it, to what I think Cage was going for with Sonny. I mean, the film looked great. It was apparently shot on 2 different film stocks. It was shot on one film stock, and then they transferred that over to another film stock to get this kind of Technicolor. He was sort of going for an 80s film vibe.
Okay. Does not translate well on digital. I don't know how yours was, Nigel. Mine.
I thought it was fine. It looked a little weird, but I think it was that. Like, I was trying to figure it out as I watched it. I think it was that. Feels like an 80s movie because it takes place in 81, but it was shot in early 2000s, so it kind of led to this off feeling, I think. In your brain.
I mean, it was shot on film, so there's that. That does lend to the 80s vibe, but yeah. It looked fine. I had the DVD, so I don't really know, because DVD, when you play it back, is kind of downscaled compared to what it is on streaming nowadays. So
mine looked like it was streaming in 480p. Again,
okay.
Oh, no, I did not have it that bad.
So
yeah,
maybe that's the issue.
Maybe that was just the prime.
Your bit rate was pretty bad. Rental. Yeah, no, I didn't have that issue. It did look and feel like an 80s film.
Yeah,
which I think was just kind of the weird cognitive dissonance because I knew it wasn't, but it felt like it. So bravo for whatever process they did to get that to work.
I do think it felt straight out of the 80s. And it was kind of weird, like seeing modern actors with that look. Yeah, but felt like it was well done. Yeah. Edited by Howard Smith, who directed one of our favorite films to talk about on this show, The Abyss, or edited The Abyss, which he was nominated for an Oscar for. No thanks to James Cameron trying to drown people. But, he also edited Point Break, Glengarry Glen Ross, Strange Days, Dante's Peak, and then had a pretty steep drop off. Did towards the end of his career, edited Blade Trinity, Snakes on a Plane, and Slumber Party Slaughter.
Sometimes you just need work.
Glen Ross, Slumber Party Slaughter.
Yeah. Sometimes you just need a job.
Yeah, got to pay some bills. And then, of course, the music was done by the great Clint Mansell, who is a Oscar-nominated British composer, who has, among his many credits, Black Swan, Favorites of Vince's, Pie, and Requiem for a Dream. I know you love those films.
They're amazing.
The Wrestler, Loving Vincent, that recent Van Gogh, like really crazy film where they actually hand painted every single frame of the film. They shot the film and then they went back and repainted every single scene in oil paints.
Jeez.
Which is insane if you watch it. It is a gorgeous film. Highly recommend, especially if you like Vincent Van Gogh's artwork. It's really cool.
That's
I'm
not saying Vincent Van Gogh. I'm saying, painting every frame. Good God.
Insane, dude.
That's wow.
Yeah, incredible.
Dang.
Yeah. Mass Effect 3.
I got a lot
that's
of
where
that
okay.
Yeah.
So that's where I got his. I was like, where have I seen this guy's name?
Yeah,
I have that soundtrack.
Recently, Doom Patrol and Peacemaker, Love Lies Bleeding, and did a score that has been in my background work music playlist for like 15 years. This movie called Moon, which I love. I love the soundtrack. I love the movie. Is a powerhouse performance from Sam Rockwell. Basically, I mean, it's just him. The whole movie. It's literally just him.
Yeah.
For 90 minutes or I don't know. It's crazy. It's a crazy thing to pull off.
Yeah. That was impressive.
Ratings didn't do great. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 21%, 4.3 out of 10, though there were only 28 reviews. But like I said, the critics were pretty harsh, and I think they really went after Cage. Like, oh, you think you can direct? I feel like every actor who tries to transition into directing gets this, where it's like the backlash from these talentless critics are like, oh, you think you're so fucking good that you can just direct a movie now? I don't know why that is, but yeah, talentless people like us,
right?
Just criticizing the shit out of Cage for doing this. But still, I feel like 21% is kind of harsh. I mean, 4.3, I guess, is close, but yeah.
Yeah.
Audience score is not much better, though. It's 41%. And then Metacritic is 31%, which is also pretty harsh. IMDb gave it a 5.6 out of 10, which I think is, like we always say, it's the audience, the real audience, people who are just stumbling upon the movie or just watch the movie and want to see the credits, who give it a rating on IMDb. So 5.6 out of 10. Did not get a cinema score.
What?
Made $130, so
yeah. Its critics were a quarter of the audience. Those 28 people that reviewed
it. Yeah, you don't get a cinema score when you make $12 on a movie.
It was one ticket. God, they were cheaper back then.
It was one ticket. It's Gene Siskel.
Oh,